Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mike Colleen at MikeColleen.com. Alright, so today I'm going to tell you how beautiful you are. I love that I get to do this. This is so awesome. Okay, so in college, I was in a class called Applied Psychology. This was kind of an open, it wasn't like the real strict, psychology thing. It was more about ideas and thoughts, and it was, the teacher was a psychotherapist himself, and he was sharing a lot of experiences and stories and things on how he helped people. So it was more of an experiential class. So here's the concept he shared with us on this day. And before I state it, it had a really, really big impact with how I looked at people. And NLP did something very similar, and I'll come back around to that next. Alright, so here's what it was. It was essentially this. All of us at one point in time we were just a ball of energy, this pure white energy, this white pure light. So the concept he started out with was that, but I think he even said this before that, and I kind of disagreed in the beginning. And what he said was, you guys are perfect just the way you are right now. And that kind of irked me a little bit. Please forgive me, I was a very young man. I was probably 20 years old. I mean, I came from the Christian way where we're all dirty rags and we're horrible and we're nothing. And I forget what else I was taught, just, And so I always thought it was like you had to earn it. You had to work hard. You needed to fix yourself. Turns out that is what causes the problems. So he went on further to say that, like what I just described a few seconds ago, is that we're like this pure ball of energy. Okay? And he said it's this pure energy, this pure light. We're beautiful. Now I'm still kind of sitting in the back looking at kind of giving the evil eye, like, no, you gotta earn it, you gotta fix it, you gotta work at it. And so he noted, he was looking right at me. He knew that I was the only one in class that wasn't just going along with this. Guys, I have been so happy for the last, I don't know how long. It's been a while now, 3 weeks, a month, maybe more. Alright, so back to the professor. I should call the professor, was in college. And so then he described something that really had an impact on me. He goes, look, all we do in therapy is, essentially what happened was, you were at one point in time, at birth, just before or whenever, this pure light, this ball of beautiful, loving light. And I'm kind of listening, like, yeah, okay. And he goes, what happened was you got dirty. So you got smudge here, smudge there, dirt poured on here, maybe some black oil here, dirt there. And eventually, by the time you're 19, 20 years old or so, you have all this stuff in it, and it's covering up the real you. So he says, like, this one piece of, mark or darkness or dirt, that's when somebody lied to you about something. And this other one is someone taught you a lie that's not true. And then this one was when someone hurt you really bad. And then this one was when this happened, that happened, blah, blah, blah. He goes, none of this is you. The real you is beneath all the dirt. So that's how I see you, a bunch of dirty, a bunch of dirty teenagers. Okay, I'm just goofing. I don't see you as a bunch of dirty teenagers. So he goes on to say, he goes, look, my job is just to clear away all this dirt, that's on the outside of you that's covering up who you really are on the inside. Now, when he said that really caught my attention. I really, really liked that because somehow that resonated with me. I don't really even know why. I guess on some level, a subconscious level or whatever, I see myself and others like we're these beautiful beings. So here's what this did. It really gave me a really good framework to view at people. Here's what we're doing. It's really simple. This isn't who they are. This is what we're cleaning off of them, okay? So NLP has a very similar belief. We call it, what's the name of that? There's a certain word for it, presuppositions. So one of the presuppositions that really caught my attention, and I was like, okay, I like this NLP stuff. We are going to get along great. See, most people will look at someone doing heavy drugs, heroin, whatever, as, oh, you got to go to therapy, you got to change. Now, I do believe that it would be a really good idea if you're doing heavy drugs and you should probably get off it. But here's the really cool thing that I loved about NLP. So most people say, well, don't you think there's something wrong with them? Like, no, not at all. I only think, our presupposition is, the only time there's something wrong with someone is when they think there's something wrong with them, when they want to come in and make the change. It completely gets rid of walking around judging everybody as you walk downtown or go to a store. Oh, right, they smoke cigarettes. It's probably something emotional. It gets rid of all that. So people so you walk around, always judging people. Like, no, not at all. Like, not even a little bit. And I'll explain why. It was those two experiences, the psychology professor, the white ball, the pure energy. That's how I view people when I walk downtown or when I deal with people. I see them as these beautiful beings that just have stuff that needs to be wiped away. And the presupposition that there's nothing wrong, it was something like, there's nothing wrong with anybody until they think there's something that they need to fix, or that they think there's something wrong with them. And I'm going to give you an example that happened about a year or two before that I heard that presupposition. Or actually, it might have been the same year. So here's what happened. It was Thanksgiving. My brother Charlie came into town. We were at my sister and brother-in-law's house. And what happened was he and I were in the garage talking, mind our own business. They were cooking. It wasn't even time for dinner. Some people were watching the football game in the living room, etc. So there's probably about 15, 20 people there, maybe a little more, but something like that. And we're out in the garage. We're enjoying ourselves. We're having a nice, peaceful conversation. And my sister, Gina, who had told us she had graduated from college, but apparently she didn't. Apparently she just graduated like 3 or 4 years ago. So it was a lie the whole time. So she was probably 26, 28 at the time, maybe 29, and Charlie was about 31 or something. Yeah, we might have been a little bit older, so about that age. And so what happened was she comes into the garage out of the blue, just, Charlie, you got to get your shit together. You can't do this and you can't do that, blah, 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 blah. And I just remember looking like, where the hell is this coming from? Now, Charlie smokes cigarettes. Charlie smokes pot. Charlie likes to have a good time. He's a fun person to be around. Now, my older sister, on the other hand, oh no, there's no fun there. Now, here's the deal. My brother Charlie, he was wise, like I could not believe. He looked at her, and so she was telling him, now here's the deal. My brother Charlie had a full-time job and a part-time job. And he looks at her, he goes, who are you to tell me? He goes, I have never asked for help. I have never this. He goes, I have always made my rent. I've always made my car payment. I've always done this. I've always taken care of myself, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I've always had a job. I've always kept a job. And I'm thinking, yeah, that's true, He goes, He goes, look at you. You've had to borrow money. And she borrowed money from me. Actually, it was $1,200. From Michael, you've had to borrow money from this. And I think she even borrowed money from him at one point in time. He goes, so who are you to go around telling us how to live our lives? And there's something else he said. I wish I could catch it exactly how he said it, but I'll do my best. But he said, look at you. You're miserable. You're unhappy. Yeah, you got your college degree, but you're miserable. You don't like yourself. You don't like your job. You're always miserable with everyone that's around you. And I just kind of like, yeah, that's true. Because he was always the righteous one. And he goes, look at me. Everyone loves me. Everybody wants to talk to me. He goes, everywhere I go, people like me, and people are happy. And I thought, yeah, that's true. And he goes, I always pay my bills. He goes, I've had a girlfriend for, I don't know, 6 years or whatever years. She's beautiful. She treats me well, blah, 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 blah. He goes, I've got my life together better than you do. And she just kind of like, because it was true. And she ran back in the other room. And he kind of started laughing. I kind of laughed, but I was really more in awe of, I never looked at it from that perspective. Here he was, the one who always had his shit together. And she was the one who was always having problems and, needed money. And it was just constant. But she was the big, college, educated corporate woman, blah, blah, blah. But it didn't really matter because, what a miserable person. And that's another thing he said. He goes, look at you. You're so miserable. He goes, I've never seen you be happy. He goes, you're never happy. Look at you. Look at me. I'm always happy. And I thought, that's true too. So my whole perspective looking at people, that had a really big impact on my life. Now, as I've said in past videos, I had 18 friends die in high school, and then I had my 4 best friends die a year and a half or just over a year after high school, and it was devastating. And I tell you one thing that I learned, and Charlie said it in the garage for Thanksgiving. He goes, you never know when you're going to die. He goes, if I died right now, I've lived a full life. He goes, I am doing this and I'm doing that. He goes, I travel, I go to the beach all the time. And he did. Charlie was always going and doing and living life and seeing the world. And the one thing I learned after watching my best friends die and my other friends and classmates is it really became clear, you never know when your last days. You just don't know. You have to live now. So this, along with my psychology professor teaching us about that, how we're just this pure ball of energy, this white light, this white energy. We're very clean. And the NLP presupposition is who am I to walk around saying, oh, you need therapy. Oh, you need to go to therapy. Oh, what a waste of time, right? Because you never know. That person's probably not only are they living their life to the fullest, but here's another thing that I've learned over the years is we all go on these wildly different journeys that can be extremely painful and dark and enlightening and enriching and it's a combination of everything. You don't know what that person needs to learn in their life in order to take it to the next level. You don't know what their purpose was coming to this planet. It might be different than yours. One example that pops up is Robert Downey Jr. He's a famous actor. His dad was a famous actor too. He had got hooked on drugs, I think it was in the late or mid 90s, and I was really kind of pissed because here's a guy who was doing it. He was a top seller. His movies were just selling. A guy who was a millionaire. He just had this life handed to him, and he's just flushing the toilet, and I was really upset about it. Or I should say, flushing his life down the toilet. I'm like, what are you doing? He was getting hooked on heavy drugs. It was very public. It was always in the news, etc. And I was just looking at this guy you got to be kidding me. And I'm like, you better turn this around. And lo and behold, about a year goes by, and boom, he makes a commitment. He makes a decision. He turns it around. He comes out of it. And I can't remember. He was like the Ant-Man, or I forget what that movie show series was, but he became a what do they call it? Block seller, whatever, blockbuster, movie seller. So like his movies just went through the roof. And his eyes, he got that clarity in his eyes again. He was sharp, mentally sharp. And I'm just like, this is awesome. Like, this guy turned it around. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, you don't know what someone has on their path and what they're supposed to learn from it. But it's not just what they're supposed to learn from it. How many millions and millions and millions of people that were hooked on drugs, cigarettes, alcohol, food, relationships, and they watched this guy completely flip his life around in a little bit more than a year, and all of a sudden he skyrockets to the top. That showed millions and millions of people that you can do it. So, beyond a shadow of a doubt, God put him through that. God used him to show people, millions and millions of people, like, hey, no matter how destitute you are, no matter how down you are, you can get your life straightened out. You can change things, no matter how hooked on drugs or whatever it is that you're going through. So my point and purpose of this is not really to talk about, oh, he turned his life around. It's to say that I don't look at people and think, oh, you need to change. I don't look at people like, oh, you need to get off drugs, or you need... No, I don't mess with people's journey. I do not mess with people's paths until they ask me. And even then, they have to be the one that says, hey, I don't like that. And here's the thing. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but they have to be the one who's like, I want to change this. I don't like this about me anymore. Or I want to move on to the next step, or whatever it is. So the only time someone needs to change is when they want to make a change. When they recognize, oh, there's something in my life that I want to change. Because it's their life. One of the greatest feelings that I have in the world is to be able to walk in the world and just notice. Just notice things. Oh, there's a person over there. Oh, there's a person over there. There's a tree. There's a bird. And to just allow things to be in their own space. Now, how I learned how to do this was a series of techniques of, again, I'm going to bring you back around to that 2-day course, the Internal Awareness Emotional Grounding class. If you guys want me to set another one of those up for this spring or early summer, let me know and let's do it. Because those are the core tools that allow you to do everything that I've been talking about in all these videos, okay? So things like allowing, letting go, being neutral, and accepting. It's like when I walk through life, I'm not focused on other people, okay? I just have this open, spacious awareness where I'm just noticing people. And that's something I work on when I'm coaching you, like one-on-one coaching or group coaching, is to learn to shift from judgment, focus, and opening up and being spacious and aware all the way around you, and just noticing what you notice with no judgment, with no anything. You just notice it. Oh, there's a book, there's a tree, there's a car, there's an ant, there's a pebble. You just notice it. There's no like, oh, there's a pebble there, gotta throw it away. There's none of that. One thing I noticed though is I'm a really grounded, spacious person. Now Adam, I did a video and he talks about these. It's kind of weird because it's different. You've probably never ever been around someone like this. So when people first see me like at the grocery store, they're kind of looking at me, kind of giving me this sigh like something's not right here. I just have this open, I'll tell you what it really is. I'm just not judgmental. My eyes aren't narrow. I'm not locked down. And I just don't have that. My brain is essentially clear. There's no thoughts. I'm just aware. And if I see someone move fast, I notice it. There's no attachment to it at all. So at first I think people, they're a little bit kind of like, whoa, like they don't it's something they've never experienced. They get a really kind of weird feeling. But then once they get around me, they go, oh, okay. It's like this very comfortable, open, spacious awareness where it's like you just, and I don't even want to say it this way because it's really not the right way. But I don't know a better way to say it. It's like you just allow people to be in their own space. It's not like I'm the king. I allow you to be that way. Like, no, it's just like they're just in their own space, and I'm in my space. And that's one of the techniques I'll teach you during the course, or in the one-on-one coaching, is how to be in your own space, which allows other people to be in their own space without you invading their space. And it's like, it's a unique experience because everybody invades everyone's space. Even if you're looking from across the room, your eyes invade their space that's around them, and that's, makes people feel uncomfortable. So the point being is, when you learn how to allow your awareness to be in your space and expand from there, people will feel really comfortable around you. The greatest compliments that I've ever received in my life is when someone says, there's something about you. I just feel like I can be myself around you. Because there was, for many years when I heard about this, about being this way, where people would just feel comfortable around you, that was something that I literally worked on, being emotionally grounded and down to earth and just allowing, etc., etc. And when the first time someone said that, I looked at them and I felt so good about myself. It is a great feeling when people can relax around you and just be. Hey, God bless you guys. Thank you for listening to this video. If you like this video, please go ahead and click subscribe, click the like button, and please go ahead and make a comment. If you want to go ahead and make a donation to this channel, there's a PayPal link right down there in the description box. God bless you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.